Dude, what are we going to do for our next podcast?
Dude, I don't know. It's so hard. Oh, I have an idea. How about we see who has the most power in Kingdom Fighters 4? And whoever gets that gets to decide.
Ha! Not even a competition. I have 5,000 power, and I chose the Aztecs for their superior military strategy.
That's laughable. I have 12,000 power. I chose the Huns for their superior military stealth.
Oh no!
Yes! Alright, so now let's see. I got it! Hey y'all, welcome back to Cut to the Chase podcast. I'm Nathan.
And I'm Isaac.
And today we're going to be talking about what makes a video game on mobile successful. So, let's start with the basics.
I think we should let's kind of lay out what we're talking about. Mobile games. So I think everyone's played a mobile game. Hopefully, they know what a mobile game is. But I think that you can kind of group them into a few groups. There's like the games that are like the instant gratification games, and then there's the like you play them for a long time games.
Yeah, you gotta play them for years if you wanna.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I like that. Let's start with some games that everybody's like played.
Yeah.
First of all, like Clash of Clans,
Yes.
Clash Royale, those Supercell games.
Mm-hmm. Most people played those. You got Subway Surfers, Temple Run, Talking Tom.
Talking Tom. And then there's also Jetpack Joyride was one of my favorites.
That is a good one.
And then Geometry Dash is always a classic.
Who hasn't played Geometry Dash on a school iPad in third grade?
Alright, so let's talk about Wi-Fi and not Wi-Fi.
Okay.
Because that's kind of like single and multiplayer kind of still. Obviously multiplayer is on Wi-Fi. And then, so what are some games that have multiplayer in them but are not like one-on-one kind of thing? It's kind of like, you know what I mean? Like Clash of Clans, you have your own base.
You fight the one person when you're doing it.
Yeah, and it's not like 1v. It's not live. It's like you attack, and then they can attack you later, but they're not watching you attack them and fighting back.
Mm-hmm. So you're saying those versus more like a Clash Royale and Among Us, where you're physically
you're
not physically. I mean, it's all digital, but you're like there with them.
Yeah. So, which ones do you think are better? Let's do the pros and cons of them.
I'd say so. Starting with the ones that are more like they're multiplayer, but you're not live. I'd say a big pro of that is that there's no disconnecting. There's no like you can play at your own pace, and there's no pressure to be there. I mean, because with the actual online ones, it gets the thing. Mom, I can't pause the online game.
Yeah.
Like you have that, and so I think with the more like it's multiplayer, but it's not completely like dependent on other people. I think a big pro of that is that you can do it at your own pace and like you're not dependent on other people.
I think it's also just a different, like, obviously it's different, but I think the styles, I think when you're doing you build up your base and then attack people, I feel like more of the actual game part is building up your base.
I agree.
And so attacking people is just like a way to like show off your kind of. I
agree, yeah.
And then Clash Royale is like the game is attacking people. I think it's hard to really like compare them equally.
Because they're different.
Yeah.
Because I would say it's the same thing with games with like leaderboards. For example, Temple Run, you're not ever going to play Temple Run against another person live, but there's like the leaderboard that you compete against. But that's completely different than a Clash Royale or Among Us or I guess Fall Guys isn't mobile, but like what's the mobile? Stumble Guys. You're playing live against those other people, and I think it's a different just kind of competition.
Yeah. So going back to the pros and cons, I think the pros for the Clash of Clans style games are, like you said, you can play at your own pace. But also, when you're building a base, it's more relaxed, and it's kind of like when you're like working hard at something and it's more lasting, like sense of achievement rather
Yes.
than, oh yeah, I won.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like you put time and effort into it instead of you can just like log on to Clash of Clans or whatever and just pick up where you left off. But like if you go to Clash of Clans, like it's like you have to put like work into it.
Yes, I agree with that. But then going into the pros of the other kind of game, I think that there is definitely something to be said. I think you get a lot of enjoyment from playing with other people. But I think for those games, it has to be a good game, and like you can't have a lot of trolls. If you have trolls, then those games become not fun. I mean, it's a little bit different from something like Clash Royale, where I mean, basically a troll's just making you win. So like that's fine. But like in a game like Among Us or something like that, if you're not playing with fun people, then a lot of time the game ends up getting hurt because of that.
Yeah. For Among Us, that's why when I played Among Us, I don't know about you, but I like only played, like I thought the idea that it was like the public server is kind of dumb because it's a lot better. First of all, if you're like in the same room, it's like it's more of like it's less with that. I feel like it's less about the game. It's more about like spending like time. It's kind of like a board game with your family, kind of where it's like you're spending time with your family and friends. It's not like about the game.
I kind of agree with that. And I think a lot of those games are more fun when you play them with... There's a reason why private lobbies are a thing.
Yeah.
Let's just say.
Yeah. And so obviously that kind of ties into the cons where it's not going to be as fun or successful if people stop playing it, which I think is important for mobile games longevity. Like Clash of Clans, Clash Royale, that's never gonna...
I do not think they'll ever leave. People can complain all they want about what they're doing for updates and stuff, but those games will never disappear. In the same way, I feel like Among Us has kind of disappeared.
Yeah.
No one plays Among Us anymore.
Yeah.
It was popular for a time, and now it's gone.
Yeah. People it was hard to get everybody from your friend group or your family like actually on at the same time because you need a big group of people to play or else it's not fun. And Clash Royale, you can be like 40 years old after work and then just like start playing it and it's fine. But if you're like an 8-year-old just wanting to play a game, you can also do that.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to parents too about chatting.
Yes.
Because Clash Royale, you can chat with your clan, but if you
most of the time you're in a clan with people you know.
Yeah, and the trolls can't start like saying stuff to you. It's like just like emojis or whatever.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I think back to the longevity. I just think that it's such you don't really grow out of it. You know what I mean?
Like a Clash Royale type thing. Yes, I agree.
But like Among Us, especially with all the memes and stuff, it just like caught like I don't know. Like it's still fun like sometimes if you like have like a big group of friends and then you just like, hey, let's like as a joke, and then you actually start playing it. But
I think another thing going on with that though, and it ties into a thing we can segue into, that Clash Royale gives you an instant gratification like you play your 3-minute Clash Royale game and then you either won or you lost. Like it gives you that thing. And I think that that's what a lot of newer mobile games try to prey off of is the instant like, oh, you did it.
Yeah.
Oh,
congratulations.
You beat Slice Master level 4. Like, and a lot of people like that. And I think a lot of people as they get shorter attention spans and stuff.
That is true.
That is more fun for them than a game like Clash of Clans or like even going back to like a Plants vs. Zombies where that game takes time. You have to learn the game. But then a game like Clash Royale or Temple Run or something, you hop in, you play a match, you're done.
Yeah.
You can play that for 5 minutes, you can play that for an hour. Some other games, you were sitting down to play it for 30 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's I like what you said about the instant gratification and stuff because the attention span. people's attention spans are so short nowadays.
Yes.
That's if one game has one game that might be like slowly going down. I don't think it'll ever truly go away, but at least less popular is Clash of Clans, just because it's a lot more like it's more rewarding overall, but you don't get that sense of achievement for like long periods of time.
I do
And
agree.
so going into that attention spans, I think some ways that Clash of Clans combats this is having timers, and you can only attack a certain amount of times, and you can only you can't just like constantly like build. You have to wait. And I think that sense of making them get off and then so they can look forward to it next time. I don't know. It's like, you know,
I know what
trying
you're
to say?
saying.
Yeah.
But I think Clash of Clans has set up a system where, while it is annoying that you have to wait 17 hours to get my builder hut upgraded or whatever, it's a lot different in the fact, like, there's a lot of games out there that have the stupid buy the premium version or you can only play 2 times every hour.
Yeah.
That is not a good way to make people wait, because when you look at that, that's just a cash grab. Most of those games are instant gratification games. They just institute the timer because they want your money
Yeah.
when it comes down to it.
Yeah, I agree. And a lot of those games also have a ton of ads too.
Yes.
Like, you can tell if a game's like just trying to make money or if they're like actually trying to make a good game. Like, the best games, I hate ad games. Like,
Ad games are bad.
they're all instant gratification. Like, you get bored after 5 minutes. You can't. A lot of them you have like you can only play like twice, and then you have to wait a long time unless you watch an ad.
Yeah.
But like, for also like the pay to win stuff, that's just stupid.
Pay to win is annoying because, like, it's just a problem. I think it takes out of a lot of the. It's a lot of games that could be very skill based and could draw in a large audience, but instead they make it where, well, unless you're willing to spend $200 every month, then you can't get the new stuff. You can't win.
Yeah, and that's why I don't support really like trying to like scam kids out of money, but like if you're going to try to get people to buy stuff, I understand you have to if you don't want ads.
Yeah.
So I think the best way to do that is either like one is Fortnite, because you just buy skins for fun and stuff. It doesn't affect your gameplay.
Yes.
But it's a way that kids can like, I don't know.
But you can get kids money, because when it comes down to it, you have to look at these companies and you have to say, no matter that they want to make a good game, yes, but when it comes down to it, a company is a company, and the number one goal of a company is to make money.
Yeah. And so it's just, the important thing is about how they go about it. And so if you have like skins, then it's like, it's a way to make it, switch it up a little bit, but not keep it, but not pay to win.
I agree.
And another way that I do like, it's good also, it's kind of a form of pay to win, but I don't really see it as that, because you can build up the, when they be like buy gems or whatever, you're not gonna be buying gems, you're not gonna be like buying gems like 20 times within a spend. It's like a $15 thing, and those gems are gonna last you a long time.
I feel like sometimes the problem with buying gems, though, is that you trick a lot of the games are set up in a way to teach you at the beginning. Oh, you know, gems make things happen faster. Gems are the best. And then you trick kids into using their gems, and then that's when it becomes very like, you're like, for lack of a better word, preying on kids, getting them to spend a ton of money on gyms.
Yeah.
And it's just because of the way the game is set up. I don't think that it's that bad as a concept. I think that it's because they have to trick people into, oh, but you have to buy gyms.
Yeah. Well, that's also, it's kind of like, if you think about it, it's kind of like Bitcoin or something. Like
Mm-hmm.
the worth of the gems in real life are like very little, but in the game,
They're worth a lot.
yeah, like 15 bucks. If you just say $15 for like, let's say like 100 like digital like gems and for a
Mhm.
random game, it sounds like stupid, but for that game in a little kid's mind, it'd be like, oh, 100 gems.
Mm-hmm.
That's worth it because they think it's like the same as like $100,
Yes.
and to them it's like that's why you always get the kids. Have you heard those stories about kids on Clash of Clans like buying like taking a mom's credit card and buying like
Yes.
$100 worth of gems and like, but mom, I got 100,000 gems or whatever. And so yeah, that might cause some trouble, but if they have good, which I'm sure they do, they have good like customer support, you can just get a refund or whatever.
Yes, a lot of the time. No, and not to keep dogging on Supercell, because I think Supercell makes...
I love Supercell.
I think they
games.
make some of the greatest mobile games
Yeah.
ever. I mean...
They spend a lot of time like actually trying to make the game good rather than just a cash grab.
Yes, but one of their problems with monetization is 47 times value. When like you get the shop offer and it's like, you know, this is $20 for these 5 champion cards, but you know, that's really 20 times value, so it's basically $100. Or like
Yeah.
like $400. Like,
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
They need to be a little bit more open
Yeah.
with the fact that 17 times value is a lie.
Yeah. Or it's either that or they just like they'll be like just only if you only buy 5 gems it's like $2.
Yes.
But if you buy 100 gems it's $5. Like they need to I understand that's what everybody does, especially like in the food like the fast food industry, like the large is
The large is cheaper than buying 2 smalls,
Yeah.
even though it's the same.
yeah. And it's just I don't know how to put it, but that's
No, yeah.
yeah.
And it's a sucky way to go about it, but I'm gonna stop dogging on Supercell because I think that
Yeah.
for all their flaws in monetization, there are a lot worse ways, such as you play a 30-second game to get a 1-minute ad.
Yeah.
That is possibly the worst form of monetization. I think it makes a game practically unplayable,
Yeah.
personally.
Yeah, that's why even that's the problem with all the newer games. Like the older games where it was less a lot of the older games if you like look at them, they were really based on making the game good. Not very many games or old games were cash grabs.
They really
Like,
weren't.
Even the ones where they weren't pay to win, you couldn't really buy much stuff except for gems. And like not even like online to either.
They really weren't.
Like Subway Surfers or whatever. You never got an ad on Subway Surfers, but people like I was addicted to Subway Surfers. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
but I love Subway Surfers and Jetpack Joyride.
Yeah, same deal there. You never had to do anything. Jetpack Joyride never asked you for money.
Yeah.
They never showed me ads, and it's just a fun game to play with your
Yeah.
like when you're having a good like. I think all those old games are like because we had Jetpack Joyride, Subway Surfers, Fruit Ninja, Temple Run. Temple Run 2 is a little bit more cash grabby than
Yeah.
Temple Run 1, but it's still a good game. But then you got like a lot of other stuff. You got Talking Tom.
Talking Tom was I don't know, that was
I
just
love
a
Talking
weird game.
Tom.
I loved it, but as I got older I realized like that's kind of it's a little weird.
Yes, when you think of Talking Tom was a very like, especially because there's Talking Tom, which is what we're talking about, but a lot of people that, especially anyone that's younger, probably is more familiar with Talking Tom 2, which was a lot more cash grabby.
Yeah.
It was a lot more watching ad stuff. The original Talking Tom, when you think about it, is a very interesting game. It's literally you hit a cat and then you make it like say the things that you want to say.
It's basically not to. I don't want to put like bad context around it, but it's kind of like the NPC live streams where it's like you like do it and then it does the same thing over and over again.
Yes.
But
It's a good game.
it was a good
I don't
game.
know- I don't know
I
what-
don't know if they got in trouble though. I think they got in trouble one time for
Really?
it like recording or something. I'm
Oh.
not. Don't. That might have just been my mom trying to scare me and didn't want me to play it, but because she definitely would do that. But I don't know. I heard at one point they got like
Maybe. But, and then let's think. I'm trying to get other. Because, like, there's just a lot of nostalgia around mobile game. Geometry Dash. Geometry Dash's monetization model was actually very good. Because you had Geometry Dash Lite, which had a lot of content. And
Yeah.
was there really even ads on Geometry Dash Lite?
I only have Geometry Dash Lite and Geometry Dash Meltdown, which are the 2 free versions.
Sub-Zero is also free, I think.
And those are really good games.
They are really good games, and they don't have. And I mean,
no ads either.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even. Can you buy stuff?
No, because the only for as far as I know, and I mean you can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. Boost our comments, please. I think because it was you bought the $3 version of full Geometry Dash.
Yeah.
But I don't. Besides that, I don't even know if there's any real thing from them that's monetization.
Yeah.
And Geometry Dash is one of the greatest mobile games of all time. I would say it's at least top 3.
Yeah.
I would think definitely.
Yeah, me too. Do we want to get into games on the phone that can also be played? Like I had Minecraft Mobile.
You can get into that.
Yeah. So Minecraft Mobile, I like the game. I do like the games where, because I had an Xbox growing up, but we never bought like the Xbox Live or anything, and so that was really the main way that I could play with other people was on my iPad, and so I really liked maybe that's just me and like it's nostalgic, but I really liked the games that were cross-platform with mobile, like Minecraft. I could play that with me and my siblings would play Minecraft Mobile all the time, and if we had people in like some of our friends, they could play it too. But Fortnite Mobile, I was a dog at Fortnite. I was so good at Fortnite Mobile, and it killed me inside when they took it off the App Store. But Fortnite, I know I was saying like it's good. The concept, I should correct myself. The concept of the buying skins is a good.
Maybe not the execution.
Yeah, because because kids spend kids don't buy V-Bucks. It's a waste. You can buy the battle pass, maybe, but man, Fortnite makes so much money. But it's a good game. Like it, like honestly, like deserves it. But anyway, back to that. I just feel like games that weren't necessarily meant for mobile, but they convert it to mobile are really good because it gives kids, because those computer games are usually more like less cash grabby and more like good quality
like
games.
you're saying, like Flash games.
Yeah, like they're good quality games that are meant to be like, because on the computer you'll pay like $30 for it or something. But
you're talking about like downloads to the computer games.
Yeah,
I think you're talking about like things that you find like cool math games.
No. If you download games on the computer, it gives you. It's not as good as on when it's on mobile, but it gives kids an opportunity to like play it, and then it's smart by the companies because the kids play it on the phone or the iPad, and then when they grow up and get the computer, then they're like, oh, I want to play that.
Yes, it is smart. Going back to you talking about Minecraft made me think of this. I wasn't even going to talk about this today, but off-brand mobile games, because I remember on my grandma's iPad.
Yes.
We did not have Minecraft on my grandma's iPad. We had Skycraft, like it was something like that, and it was Minecraft, just not.
Yeah.
And I think we should talk about like off-brand mobile games.
Yeah, those off-brand mobile games are so many ads. I mean, a few of them are pretty good. Like Stumble Guys.
Yeah.
Stumble Guys is good. Most of them are just cash grabs.
Oh, 100% they are. I mean, you look at Boom Arena. Boom Arena popped up. I don't know if you've heard of Boom Arena. Boom Arena is Clash Royale if you just changed all of the names and did bad 3D models. Boom Arena only exists because people were saying, Clash Royale sucks, we need a new Clash Royale, when they introduced Evolutions. And it's like, it's such a bad game.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
And it's like, they're all just, it's so funny because they just try to capitalize on the success of other games.
Yeah. So, let's. So we're talking about successful game. Let's go. I think that's a good base of like compare and contrast.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go about what do you think makes the best mobile game? Like, if you were to pick like from each category we discussed, what would you say?
I think part of it depends on what the age group you're marketing towards is.
Yeah.
Like, if you're marketing to, because most mobile game companies are marketing to kids, at least I think, from like 10 to like 18ish. I think that's their main, because like, if you're going younger, Monkey Preschool Lunchbox knows what's up. Actually, one of the best games when I was little. That and the Puzzle Train game. Those games were the best.
I think I know what you're talking about.
What makes you
The Puzzle Train game.
Yes, the one where it's like you like make the puzzles.
Yeah.
Such a good game. I don't know what about it was so good, but like, so I think that if you take the different aspects, I think something that makes a game good is a good monetization model. I would say multiplayer, but it's like not in an Among Us sense, like more of like either a one-on-one battle, but you're not like interacting with them really, or just like a leaderboard kind of system. And then I think it also just has to do with the like how the game is made, because I mean there's a lot of games that they're just very good games.
Yeah.
And
there's the different styles of them.
Yes.
Like first person shooter, third person shooter is kind of the same, but like once you get to like the running at like Subway Surfers and Temple Run, both really great games. They're basically the same, but they're so much different.
They are different.
It's like the same. Oh, swipe and dodge the obstacles as you run, and also Minion Rush. Did you play Minion Rush?
I played Minion Rush.
Minion Rush is really good too. I think it's a lot of it's those I wouldn't say are knockoffs of each other because they're all so completely different. I think it's more of like
I would agree.
it's the same as like you can make a different first person shooter, third person shooter, like Fortnite versus like what was popular PUBG.
I think that yeah.
Yeah.
I think also it's also the difference between like I would say there's a lot of games that are very similar to Candy Crush.
Yeah.
Not all of them are knockoffs of Candy Crush.
Yeah.
I would say a lot of those games are actually good games, but
Yeah.
then you get a game like Royal Match. I'm sure you guys have all gotten the ads for Royal Match, and that is a knockoff.
Yeah.
And I think that that's the difference. There's a difference between a knockoff and you took the concept, but you didn't take the game.
Like Homescapes.
Yes.
Homescapes is a really good. I honestly prefer Homescapes to Candy Crush.
Homescapes is a lot of fun.
Yeah, and it's like not. I rarely like actually build the house. I mostly just play it for the matching, whatever. It's hard, which I like. You have to think about it. It can get frustrating at times, but it's and you have to wait for the 5 lives. But it's just a really fun thing, and like it's not. It doesn't take super long. You can exit whenever you want. And then they still do have the leaderboard, so you're like kind of competing. And then the levels are basically like your achievement, how far you progressed. You can see your progression. That's another thing I think is important.
I agree. Progression is important. I think a lot of games fall short in that they don't implement a good way of progression.
Yeah.
And so even a game that's really fun, if I'm doing the same thing over and over again and there's no change, then that game I'm not going to play anymore.
Yeah. Like Clash of Clans. We keep going back to Clash of Clans because it's such a good game. It's
Clash
such
of
a good
Clans
example.
is one of the best made mobile games to, I would say, ever exist. I think it's very, even if you don't, like, I was never huge into Clash of Clans, but there's nothing wrong with Clash of Clans. I think Clash of Clans is just an overall very good game.
Yeah, you can't argue with its success. And just seeing you're able to progress, and they're still making changes. Like they keep adding new levels, but the thing is, they don't do that very often because they're trying to make it quality. They're trying to keep it up to the standard which they hold, rather than just we made like 1,000 levels, but like it's the game where it's like a person running and then you shoot with the line. You know what I'm talking about?
Stickman Hook.
Stickman Hook's a great example. We'll just stick with that. Stickman Hook. They say, "Oh, we have 1,000 levels." They just repeated.
Yeah.
They're literally the same 50 levels over and over, and it just cycles through and cycles through and cycles through. And so I was like, that's why I was so, like, when I first started playing Stickman Hook, I was like really into it.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. And then they just like gave up.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm just like, and then now I haven't played it in however long.
It doesn't even work on mobile anymore because I tried to play it the other day. I tried to play it the other day and it doesn't even open.
Yeah. And so I'm just like, I understand if that's not if the company like goes out of business or whatever, but like still at least when you're starting it, when you're popular, especially when you're popular, you have to take that opportunity.
Yes.
Like, and I think they just missed it.
I agree. I think that they definitely missed an opportunity in a way that a game like, I would say, Fruit Ninja didn't. Fruit Ninja, when they added new content, it wasn't just like, oh, it's this, but it's a little different. It's a different color in the background. Yeah. Which is what Stickman Hook did. I think that when they added a new thing, it was a new thing.
Yeah. Like they have the different game modes, like the Zen mode, the actual mode, and then I really like the 1v1 mode, the duel mode. That's what I think are some of the can have the potential to be some of the best ones. Where you have, it's not going to be as many of them, but if it's good, it's going to be really good. The games that are offline but multiplayer, because you can play those anywhere. Like if you're on a family trip in the car and there's you're not getting any signal, you can play that.
Yes.
You can, if you're on an airplane, you can play that. If you're traveling, you can play that. And it's just such a good way to, instead of just like sitting there bored.
Yes.
It's like your go-to game too.
And when it comes down to it, saying getting bored, that's what a mobile game's for. They put games on your phone to give you something to do on your phone. Yeah. And so I think that's a key thing. It keeps a game that keeps you from getting bored. To some extent, is still a good game. Even if it is Royal Match, if it keeps you from getting bored, then that's a good game for you.
But yeah, it also is a matter of your personal preference and what you're looking for in a game. But I think I just lost my train of thought. But the thing about, oh my gosh, you say whatever you're gonna say.
No, I don't know. I mean, I have a segue into another thing, but if you're still
just go ahead and go to the other.
Okay, so I have a question for you. What is your opinion on the mobile game sequel?
Oh, that's tough.
Should they keep the old game and add new content, or what do you think?
It really depends. If you're gonna, I feel like Geometry Dash did it right, where they have the game, they keep adding to it, but the other free version, it's not really sequels, but it's a completely same concept, but it's a completely different game. It's different styles and different animations, different everything. So I think if your original game is good enough to where people are gonna half the people are gonna want to keep playing that game, and half the people are trying to want something new, I think that's a great way to do a sequel. And because you can still, some days you might want to play the new one, some days you might want to play the old one, and it's a good way to keep it variations. You know what I mean?
I agree with that. I think that is probably the better strategy to do. I would say sometimes games need sequels because, for example, Plants vs. Zombies. Yeah. Plants vs. Zombies was set up a lot more like a console game in the fact that it was once you beat the game, you beat all the levels. Yeah. So that is a game that I understand getting a sequel. I understand it getting Plants vs. Zombies 2. But then a game I always thought it was kind of weird that Temple Run got a sequel. Just add it to the old Temple Run.
Yeah, if it's not a levels thing, then I don't think you should have a sequel.
I kind of agree.
especially like multiplayer games. Why would you have a sequel? Just change it. Just change it. Like, it's literally the same thing over and over again. If you think people are getting bored, then they're probably getting bored because the same thing over and over again.
Yes.
Like, and then you can do what Fortnite does and bring back the OG season for a little bit, and then it brought it back
popular again.
Yeah, like.
And I think building off of that, it makes me think of back when, I don't know if you remember this, like, remember when Among Us was kind of dying and there was talk they were going to make Among Us 2, and then
I didn't know that.
So there was talk, I don't know if it was just rumors or if it was like actually a thing, but so do you remember when the airship came out for Among Us, the new map that like has kind of changed the way that the game was played? There was a lot of talk about whether they were going to add a new map that would change stuff or if they were going to make Among Us 2. And I think that despite the fact that Among Us has fallen off, they made the right decision in choosing to go with the airship instead of making Among Us 2. Yeah, no,
if they made Among Us 2, nobody would play it.
No one will play Among Us 2 because Among Us was an online game, like you're saying. Like that wouldn't have worked with how the game was set up.
Yeah, and especially since it's decline. If your game is declining in popularity, you cannot, with that style of game, you cannot create that competition for the first game, because if there's only like a few thousand people playing it, but then you make a second game, okay, now you have like 2,000 people over here, 2,000 people over here, and that's just even worse.
I agree with that.
But so yeah, it all depends on the game if you're gonna make a sequel or not.
I do agree. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it does depend on the game and the style of the game.
Yeah, and so another thing I like, the best out of the categories, I really like the games where those games, you have to be in a mood for the games that are like the same concept but like it changed, like the Subway Surfers.
Yes, you do kind of need a mood for this. I agree.
I like where you don't have to think about it as much, but if I'm being honest, games that have longevity and are the most successful are the games where it's not the same thing over and over again, and I like the games where you actually have to think.
Yes.
Where you have to strategize and be like, okay, where am I gonna like divide my resources? Where am I gonna, I don't know, like, and you can like change your strategy too. Like you can experiment and you change your strategy, and like Clash of Clans, you can rechange your base. You can watch videos and like figure out what the best attack strategy is. Clash Royale, you can build different decks and come up with different strategies and stuff. And there's enough people playing it where you can talk to other people and like ask them for help. And I think it's really important for games to have just enough longevity to where you have the people, you have like the old teenagers / people in their 20s, right when and you have to make it easy enough for the young kids to start, because then the older kids can teach the younger kids, and like even like your dad, like my uncle and his son play Clash Royale all the time. They always play like video games together. And I think that's really important for games to, it's like a Goldilocks zone. It can't be too hard, because then you lose a ton of people. But if it's too easy, like Royal Match, I downloaded it for a day because I saw my dad playing it. That game was so easy. I literally got
But they can't solve it in the ad. In the ad, she can't swipe the green one over though.
Only 9% of people can beat this level. Like it's so bad. It's like they make it too easy, and it just loses me because I'm just like it's just makes me even more bored. It's completely goes against the purpose of a mobile game.
Yes.
Mobile games are supposed to distract you or like have something to do when you're bored. Like if you can find a game that is like a running game where it's like over and over, it has to be a really good game.
I agree.
You have to be you have to get people really into it, so then it's like kind of addicting.
I agree. I think that addiction is. I think that. Let me rephrase how I'm going to say that.
Addiction is good for success.
No, I think that for a game to be successful, you have to have something that makes people keep coming back.
Yeah.
I think you have to have something that forces people to think, well, I gotta get back on. I can do it this time. I got it this time. But then going back to what you're saying about a Goldilocks zone, it made me think of, there was a game I used to like a lot. I still have it on my phone probably. Marvel Strike Force.
Oh, I've heard of that.
That game is so complicated. There's like 500 currencies. Half the time when I log into that, like when I logged into that game, I would just spam the thing to like collect all my currencies and like spend it on things because I don't even know what they do.
Yeah.
And I think that when you make a game so complicated that I was trying to play a game where I could fight with Marvel characters. That's what I wanted out of that game. Yeah. I didn't need 400 Blitz tokens and Royal. Like, it's confusing. Yeah. And I think when a game is too confusing, it loses a lot of people, especially people who don't have time to figure it out.
Yeah, that's a lot. A big thing about that is those games that are like unnecessarily complicated are like what's it called? Star Wars Galaxy Heroes.
I think I've never played that one, but I think it's the same thing as Star Wars.
You like it seems cool, but it just gets confusing and like I don't even know what all these stuff are doing and like how it's helping me, and then I just stopped progressing because I didn't have like a set strategy. Okay, I'm gonna do this. Yes. I'm gonna do this. It's more of just like click here, click here, click here. Okay.
Yes.
Like the game's telling you what to do, and so it's not really you're playing it. It's more of you're doing what it tells you to do.
And by the time that you finally get to playing it and the game stops telling you what to do, you don't know what to do.
Exactly.
You don't understand.
Exactly. And
also with those games too, a game should never take 2 minutes to load on your phone. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's a big thing. It was like the megabyte updates. I was like,
yes, it's like, no, we do not need a megabyte update for a game.
Yeah.
On my phone. If I wanted to do a big update on the game, I'd be playing on my Xbox or my Switch.
Yeah. And then, the Madden. Have you ever played
Madden Mobile?
Madden Mobile.
All of
that got way too comfortable.
Yes.
Complicated.
Yes.
Complicated.
I think let's talk for a second about the sports, the mobile versions of like Madden. You got 2K Mobile. You got what else? FIFA Mobile. I think those games, a lot of time they were just trying to emulate the success of something else.
Like it was fun until you had to do the events because they had like 5 million events at the same time, all with their own currencies, all with their own rewards, and eventually it got to the point where you almost had to play the events if you wanted to play the actual just normal stuff. And then one of them, I think it was Madden. It was either Madden or 2K Mobile. I couldn't even figure out how to get to the normal game. I was stuck in the events, and it was so complicated because there's like an event within an event within an event, and it's like go here to this other event to compare or whatever. I'm like, let me just. I just rage. I deleted it.
Yeah, like, I think the problem with those games too is that they base with those sports games. They try to base the mobile game around a part of the game I don't really understand. They try to base it around the Ultimate Team part of the actual game, and it's like, but like, why would you try to put like the card packs and I know why, it's for money, but like that's not the part of the game that like people are super into.
Yeah, people are playing the game to play football or play basketball or play whatever. They're not doing it to.
If I wanted to play a deck building game, I'm not playing Madden Mobile.
Yeah, exactly. And so, sometimes it can be good if you have like one event, like once in a while, but it's just too complicated and it gets in the way of the gameplay.
I agree. I think it does. I think that going along with complication too, UI has a lot to do with it too. I think that those games have very, very complicated UI. Yeah. And I think it's hard to figure out what you're doing when you can't even see what's on the screen.
Yeah. And also it's annoying whenever you open up the app, and then it's like, just like 10 different pop-ups, and then you have to keep pressing X, 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 X. It's just like, why, dude? Like, it's so complicated to do. It's not user friendly whatsoever.
It really isn't.
So,
which sucks.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's just how cookie crumbles, I guess.
Yeah, I think some console games should stay console games. Some of them where it's like Minecraft or like Fortnite, yeah, those are fine on mobile. Like Call of Duty is a little complicated for mobile, but like if you don't care about modding everything, then it's fine. But that one COD Mobile does take a really long time to load.
Yes.
So yeah, I think the summary of this is probably it doesn't really matter to make it a successful mobile game. It doesn't really matter what category your game is, like what style like if it's multiplayer, online, offline, no Wi-Fi, whatever. Just make the game quality and don't try to make it for money. If you try to make it just a cash grab, it's not going to make nearly as much money as a game that's not a cash grab but is really, really good.
Monetization should be not your major, like, while it is your main focus when you're making a game, it also shouldn't be. It should be, you should build the game and then add the monetization in later.
Yeah.
You shouldn't base the game around how you're going to monetize it.
Yeah.
Which I think a lot of companies do.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Basing it off the monetization. Like, if you just think about the monetization of it, then people aren't going to come back. It's the little purchases that add up. Like, oh, I really want this skin or whatever. Because they play it so much. They play it for like 4 hours a day. Not really, but 4 hours a day. And they're like, oh, I spend so much time on this game. It's okay if I just spend a little bit of money.
Yes.
To buy a thing that I'm going to be using every single day.
That's why the pass system works. And
the battle pass, yes.
A lot of people don't like the battle pass system, but the battle pass system is one of the best ways to monetize a game.
Yeah.
Because it makes people feel like they're getting their money's worth.
Yeah.
And so you're able to make them spend a lot of... I mean, Clash Royale's been charging, I think it's like $12 for the Diamond Pass, but it's value.
Yeah.
Like, I would never buy that and be like, well, I feel like I wasted my money.
Yeah. And that's a really good way for games that don't have levels to get that sense of progression, achievement, because you're always progressing, and then you get that, you have to wait a little bit, but then you get that huge reward, and then you look back, and then you're level like 100, and then it makes you, wow, I'm level 100, I'm really good at this game.
Yeah.
Even though you might not have to be. It's about, games should be based on how it makes the users feel. That's what the most successful games have. The quality games that listen to their people, to listen to their players, and change what the players want them to change, those are the games that are gonna last the longest, be the most successful, and make the most money. Games that just don't care, they're like, oh, we're making money, it's fine. I don't think they realize what they're missing out on. They can. It doesn't matter, like what I was saying earlier, it doesn't matter what category you're in, just make the people want to come back to it, and make the game good quality, and the success and the money will come with that.
I agree.
If you make a good successful game, the money's gonna do its own thing.
I mean, yes, you can look at console for this. It matters more because console games don't have in-app purchases for the most part. I mean, I guess they're not apps, but like they don't have stuff like that because you're spending $60 to get it up front, and they a lot of the time can just base it off of, oh, people are gonna buy my game because it's a good game. And mobile games a lot of the time need to be free for people to download them, but they just need to then work their monetization into it to be they're going to spend money because they enjoy my game, not because they feel like either they have to or they're being kind of tricked into it.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of times the parents and stuff don't see why they're like, oh, that's $70 game. I'm not buying you that. Well, not a $70 game. It better be a really good game.
Yeah.
But like, if it's like $30 for a game or whatever, parents see that and they're like, oh, I don't want to buy that. That's really expensive for you, and you're not gonna play it. But console and computer games are gonna be more high quality versus, oh, mom, can I buy this 99-cent game?
Mm-hmm.
They're like, oh, it's 99 cents, but they're gonna play it for like a day, and it's not gonna be good. And so I think parents need to look at that and be like, I'm willing to make an investment and for my kids' happiness. Like, and if for how much your kid's gonna play that $30 game, even if they only play it for like a year or two,
that's still way more than they're getting.
It's
out
still
of the
way
99
more.
cent game.
Yeah, it's still way more value than the 99-cent game they're gonna play for like an hour.
And let's all be honest, most of the time on the App Store, the free games, with the exception, there's a few exceptions. Like there's they put all the Papa's games on mobile and they cost money. Then Geometry Dash, like those are fine. But if you have to pay for it up front most of the time, it's not going to be worth it.
Yeah, because they know they're not gonna make money
in the game.
That's why they charge.
Mm-hmm.
Besides, well, because like Minecraft, you had to pay on mobile, but that's just because it's Minecraft. What are you gonna buy?
Yeah.
Like, you can buy like different mods and stuff, but you're playing Minecraft. That's why I really like Minecraft, because Minecraft, they had literally like basically zero purchases that you could do, but they were so successful because they made such a good game, and they made billions off of it.
I think it just makes you think of the fact that when it comes down to it, the thing that makes a game successful, mobile or otherwise, is the quality.
Yeah.
A bad game is never going to make as much money as a good game, even if it has 10 times the level of monetization.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just giving the people what they want, really.
Mm-hmm.
And that ties in the long run. If it's a quality game, like, you're young, you're like 6 years old. You don't care about the quality.
No.
Once you get to like 8, you're going to be like, okay, that game's so stupid. It's so bad. If you make a good quality game, and so they buy like a $20 pack like once a year, but they're playing it for 10 years.
Exactly.
You're making so much more money. Like, you just have to make it good enough for people to want to come back, like we've been saying.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. If anybody's thinking of making a video game out there,
yeah,
then, yeah.
Take notes.
Yeah, take notes. Yeah. And don't make a cash grab if you do. If you have ads, I'm going to sue you. Okay. I think that's a wrap.
I think so too.
Yeah, so it's been fun.
It has been fun.
Yeah.
Comment down below what your favorite mobile game is.
Yeah, let's see them. Yeah, that's cut to the chase. I'm Nathan.
And I'm Isaac.
And we'll see you next time.